Are you feeling like you just run around trying to figure out where can you connect with people or maybe even start creating new friendships? Hi, I'm Susan Regan, and I'm a relationship expert and coach, and I help people transform after losing a long-term relationship and trying to rebuild their life. A lot of my clients tell me they're lonely and they don't really know what to do other than to stay isolated. And sometimes they feel like they have no choice but to try to push out beyond the people that they know. Because the people that they know have perception of how they should live their life, what it would take for them to feel better and connected. But people often need to make their own choices. And sometimes they'll just create a facade and act like nothing's wrong, but that doesn't really help. I was reading a book by Annie Lamont about anyhow, which talks about all different kinds of love and love meaning like love for community, love in friendships, love just supporting each other and feeling supported. So I was thinking that maybe it would be helpful for somebody out there to listen today to an idea about how to create community for yourself. So firstly, one of the things to remember is it doesn't have to be perfect. And that if you follow your interests and you don't have a ton of expectations on whatever kind of activity you're going to do, but you just try to work on just being yourself. And sometimes some of my clients tell me that they just, when they start doing something that they've never done before, they just give themselves permission to always have an out. Like they can leave after a half an hour if they don't like it. But maybe also some of it is about trying. And it might be just having those one-liners that you say when you walk in the door. Like, hi, I'm Susan, and I just always wondered what was going on here, and I wanted to check it out. So, what's going on here? And it might just be having chit chat, very superficial conversation, and giving people a chance. Sometimes people have preconceived notions about like, oh, this is going to be a cult, or these people are going to be weird, or everyone here is going to be lonely. And that doesn't really help you connect. It really helps you feel more judgment about people instead of letting your guard down and just like, okay, well, let's see who's here. Let's see what they're talking about. Maybe I can ask a few questions. Maybe I can just listen for a while. I remember one time I was going to something I had never gone to before. It was a gathering, and a friend of mine used to gather this group together, and they talked about like, how to have a sustainable community together and would that look like. I always tried to like get out of there before the very end of the meeting so that I didn't have to mingle with everyone. And I remember somebody ran after me one day, and I was sort of anxious about like, oh, I don't want to get stuck in talking to people. I'm just listening and trying to figure out if I want to be here. But that person actually said, hey, it would be really nice if you stayed for some tea and just like hung out for a little bit, and we could all kind of chat and get to know each other. And that was something I considered doing the next time. Sometimes it's okay to just be like, hey, I'm in the momentum of leaving and I'm going to leave. But the way that you're going to solve your loneliness is not by staying home alone. It's going to be by trying different things and actually being more open than you ever have before. I remember one time it was during COVID, and I was in an area I had just moved and I didn't know anyone and nobody was really socializing. And so it was like excruciatingly lonely. And I'm sure maybe many of you have memories of that time of being like excruciatingly lonely. And I one time just said to myself, you got to try harder. You have to try harder to start meeting people here. This isn't going to go on forever. You're not going to not know anyone forever, but you have to start trying. And so I signed up for an activity every single day. It was like some kind of holiday break. And so I had the time to do that. And I just really forced myself to meet people. And it made me feel better. It wasn't perfect. They weren't the perfect people. I really had to just keep giving myself permission to show up and to just get some kind of socialization and external stimulation just so that I could feel like, oh, talked to someone today, or I had a really interesting conversation, or that was an interesting thought, or I had a place to go. So we all go through times like that in life where we do a change. We end up somewhere different. We don't have our usual group around us. We don't even know how to be with our usual group. So it takes some guts, but it's better than being alone and feeling isolated. So that's just a few thoughts I have for you. Hoping that your 2026 is focused on building community that's going to support you, and that you're going to learn more about yourself and more about some of the really cool things that are happening in your environment where you live. Okay, I'll talk to you some more at another time. Bye for now.